Hey, what is up YouTube? It's Malone here and I'm here with another great video for you guys today. We've got another Magnus Chase video in front of us. We've got the Magnus Chase book in front of us for another Magnus Chase video. This is chapter 52. I left off at chapter 51 in the last one. So let's go ahead and begin. We'll probably be another 40-minute video for this one since we are almost done with the book and I kind of want to rush it. Alright. It is a good book, but I've been trying to get the videos for this uploaded forever now. So, chapter 52. I got the horse right here. His name is Stanley. Thor was still snoring like a defective wood chipper when we were ready to leave the next morning. It's really saying something since I had slept forever. Jack the Sword had not been kidding about the effect of killing the giantess. As soon as I'd reclaimed the sword after Sam fell asleep, I had passed out instantly. At least I hadn't lost a full 24 hours this time. With Fenris Wolf appearing in only 2 more days, I couldn't afford any more long naps. I wondered if maybe, just maybe, I was growing more resilient as I became bonded to the sword. I hoped so, but I still felt like I'd been flattened under a rolling pin all night. We packed up our gear and ate a cold breakfast of morning maggot energy bars from Blitz's supply bag. Yum. Then Hearthstone nestled the severed heads of the 2 still dead goats in Thor's arms like teddy bears. Never let it be said that elves don't have a sense of humor. I looked down at the drool turning to ice in Thor's beard, and to think that the defense of 9 worlds rests on this god. Let's get going, Blitzen muttered. I don't want to be around when he wakes up with Otis and Marvin. The dead giantess proved helpful. We climbed over her to cross the icy swamp. Then we discovered that we could scale her left foot to reach the first ledge in the side of the cliff. Once we got that far, I stared up at the remaining 500 meters of sheer icy rock. Awesome, now the real fun begins. Wish I could still fly, Sam murmured. I imagined she could fly with a little shape-shifting, but after our conversation last night, I had decided against mentioning that. Blitz handed his pack to Hearthstone, then wriggled his stubby fingers. Don't worry, kids, you're climbing with a dwarf today. I frowned. You're a mountaineer now as well as a master of fashion? I told you, kid, dwarves were formed from maggots that burrowed through Ymir's flesh, and you seem strangely proud of it. Rock to us is like, well, not rock. He punched the side of the cliff. Rather than breaking his fist, he left an indentation just the right size for a handhold. I'm not saying it'll be fast or easy. It takes me a lot of effort to shape rock, but we can do it. I glanced at Sam. Did you know dwarves could punch through stone? Nope. Well, that's new to me. Hearthstone signed. Use the magic rope, rather not fall to death. I shuddered. I couldn't think about the rope and Scotty without thinking about the wolf, and I didn't like thinking about the wolf. We need that rope to bind Fenris, right? I don't want to do anything that might weaken it. Don't worry, kid. Blitzen brought out the silken cord. This rope can't be weakened. Hearthstone's right. We might as well tie it to one another for safety. That way if we fall, Sam said, we'll fall together. Sold, I said, trying to tamp down my anxiety. I love dying with friends. We got hitched, so to speak, and followed our intrepid rock-shaping fashion-conscious guide up the side of Mountain You Gotta Be Kidding Me. I'd heard homeless military vets describe war as 95% boredom and 5% terror. Climbing the cliff was more like 5% terror and 95% excruciating pain. My arms shook, my legs wobbled, and every time I looked down I wanted to cry or throw up. Despite the handholds and footholds Blitzen made, the wind almost knocked me off several times. There was nothing I could do except keep going. I knew for certain that my Valhalla enhanced strength was the only thing keeping me alive. Magnus 1.0 would have fallen to his death. I didn't understand how Hearthstone could manage bringing up the end of that rope, but he did. And Sam, demigod or not, she didn't have the advantage of being an Einarharji. Yet, she didn't complain, didn't waver, didn't slip, which was good since she was climbing right above me. Finally, as the sky began to darken, we reached the top. Down in the canyon we'd come from, the body of the giantess was so small it looked like a normal-sized body. The river glittered in the gloom. If Thor's camp was still there, I saw no sign of it. In the other direction, Jotunheim spread out like an electron microscope landscape. Impossibly jagged peaks, crystalline cliffs, ravines filled with ovoid clouds like floating bacteria. The good news, I could see the giant's fortress. Across a mile-wide chasm, windows glowed red in the side of a mountain. Towers rose from the summit as if they'd been shaped from the rock dwarven style rather than built. The bad news, did I mention the mile-wide chasm? The cliff top where we were standing was no more than a narrow plateau. The drop on the other side was just as precipitous as the one we'd climbed. Considering it had taken us all day to get this far, I figured we'd reach the castle in another 6 months easy. Unfortunately, it was Monday evening and the Wolf's Island was supposed to rise on Wednesday. Let's camp here tonight, Blitzen said. Maybe in the morning we'll see a better way across. Despite our time crunch, nobody argued. We were all so tired we collapsed. As is so often the case, in the fresh light of morning, our situation looked much worse. There were no stairs, no convenient zip lines, no direct commuter flights to Garrett's fortress, and I was about to risk an axe in the face by suggesting that Sam shapeshift, maybe change into a giant sugar glider and carry us across, when Hearthstone signed that he had an idea. He pulled out a runestone. M, I said. He shook his head and then spelled out the name. It was. Right, I said, because calling it M would be too easy. Sam plucked the stone from Hearth's palm. I know this one. It symbolizes a horse, right? The shape is like a saddle. I squinted at the rune. The wind was so cold and harsh that I had a hard time thinking imaginatively, but the symbol still looked like an M to me. How does this help us? Hearthstone signed. It means horse, transportation. Maybe a way to go. He pointed to the castle. Blitzen tugged his beard. Sounds like powerful magic. Have you tried it before? Hearthstone shook his head. Don't worry, I can do it. I know you can, said Blitz, but you've already taxed yourself to the limit several times. Be fine, Hearth insisted. I don't see that we have much choice, I said, since we don't have anyone who can grow wings. I'll push you off this mountain, Sam warned. All right, Blitzen decided. Let's try it. I mean, the room, not pushing Magnus off the mountain. Maybe Hearth can summon a helicopter. Garrett would hear a helicopter, I said, and probably throw rocks at us and kill us. Well then, Blitzen said, perhaps a stealth helicopter. Hearthstone, do your stuff. Sam returned the stone. Hearth passed his hand over it, moving his lips as if imagining how the syllables might sound. The runestone burst into dust, and Hearthstone stared at the white powder trickling through his fingers. I'm guessing it wasn't supposed to do that, I asked. Guys, Sam's voice was so small it was almost lost in the wind. She pointed up where a gray shape was hurtling out of the clouds. It moved so fast and blended with the sky so well I didn't realize what the creature was until it was almost on top of us. A stallion twice the size of a normal horse, his coat rippling like liquid steel, his white mane billowing and his eyes glittering black. The stallion had no wings, but he galloped through the air as easily as if he were running down a gentle slope. Only when he landed next to us did I notice he had 4, 5, 6, 8 legs, a pair in each place where a normal horse would have one, kind of like dual wheels in a pickup truck. I turned to Hearthstone. Dude, when you summon a horse, you don't mess around. Hearthstone grinned. Then his eyes rolled up in his head and he fell forward. I managed to catch him and ease him to the ground while Blitzen and Sam moved warily around the stallion. It can't be, Blitzen stammered. One of Sleipnir's offspring, Sam wondered. Gods, what a magnificent animal. The horse nuzzled her hand, clearly pleased with the compliment. I moved toward him, fascinated by his intelligent eyes and his regal stance. The stallion gave the word horsepower a new meaning. He radiated strength. Is somebody going to introduce me? I asked. Sam shook herself out of her reverie. I don't know who he is. He looks like Sleipnir, Odin's steed, but this can't be him. Only Odin can summon him. I'm guessing this is one of Sleipnir's sons. Well, he's amazing. I extended my hand. The horse brushed his lips against my fingers. He's friendly and he's definitely big enough to carry us all the way across the chasm. Would you be okay with that, buddy? The horse nickered like, duh, that's why I'm here. The 8 legs are, I was about to say weird, but changed my mind. Awesome. How did that happen? Blitzen glanced at Sam. Sleipnir was one of Loki's children. They tend to come out interesting. I smiled. So this horse is your nephew, Sam. She glared at me. Let's not go there. How did your dad father a horse? Blitzen coughed. Actually, Loki was Sleipnir's mother. What? Let's definitely not go there, Sam warned. I filed that away for later research. Okay, Mr. Horse, since we don't know your name, I'm going to call you Stanley, because you look like a Stanley. That okay with you? The horse seemed to shrug, which was good enough for me. We draped Hearthstone over Stanley's extra long back, like a sack of elfish potatoes. The rest of us climbed on. We're going to that castle over there, Stanley, I told the stallion. Looking for a quiet entrance. That work for you? The horse whinnied. I was pretty sure he was warning me to hold on. I wondered what exactly I should hold on to, since there were no reins and no saddle. And then the stallion pawed the rocks with his front four hooves, leaped off the side of the cliff, and plummeted straight down. And we all died. Chapter 53, How to Kill Giants Politely. Just kidding this time. It only felt like we were going to die. The horse must have enjoyed the feeling of free fall. I didn't. I grabbed his neck and screamed in terror, which was not very stealthy. Meanwhile, Blitzen grabbed my waist, and behind him Sam somehow stayed on board, while managing to keep Hearthstone from slipping into oblivion. The fall felt like hours, though it probably lasted only a second or two. During that time, I thought of several more colorful names for Stanley. Finally, he turned out his 8 legs like locomotive wheels. We leveled out and began to climb. Stanley punched through a cloud, zigzagged along the face of the mountain, and landed on a window ledge near the top of the fortress. I dismounted, my legs shaking, and then helped the others with Hearthstone. The ledge was so wide the 4 of us plus the horse could stand in one corner and seemed no bigger than mice. The window had no glass, probably because there wasn't that much glass in the world, but Stanley had landed us behind a panel of gathered curtain, so nobody inside could have seen us, even if they were randomly scanning the window for mice. Thanks, buddy, I told Stanley. That was horrifying. Great. Stanley nickered. He gave me an affectionate nip, then disappeared in a burst of dust. On the windowsill where he'd been standing was the AWA's runestone. He seemed to like me, I noted. Blitzen slid down next to Hearthstone and said, "Eek." Only Sam didn't seem ruffled. In fact, she seemed exhilarated. Her eyes sparkled and she couldn't stop smiling. I guess she really did love flying, even if it was a near-death freefall on an 8-legged horse. Of course Stanley liked you. She picked up the runestone. Horses are one of Frey's sacred animals. Huh. Thought about my experiences with the Boston Mounted Police that patrolled the public garden. The horses always seemed friendly, even if their riders weren't. One time when a mounted officer had started to question me, his horse had suddenly taken off, galloping toward the nearest low-hanging tree branch. I've always liked horses, I said. Frey's temples kept their own herds, Sam told me. No mortal was allowed to ride them without the god's permission. Well, I wish Stanley had asked my permission before leaving, I said. We have no exit strategy, and Hearthstone doesn't look like he's going to be casting more spells anytime soon. The elf had regained consciousness, sort of. He leaned against Blitz, giggling silently and making random signs like butterfly pop and yippee. Blitzen clutched his stomach and stared into space as if he were thinking of interesting ways to die. Sam and I crept to the edge of the curtain. We peeked around it and found we were at ceiling level of a stadium-sized room. In the hearth burned a fire as big as an urban riot. The only exit was a closed wooden door on the far wall, and in the center of the room, seated at a stone table, 2 giantesses were having dinner, ripping into a carcass that reminded me of the roast beast in Valhalla's dining hall. The giantesses didn't look as tall as the dead one back in the river, though it was hard to be sure. In Jotunheim, proportions made no sense. My eyes felt like they were constantly adjusting to different funhouse mirrors. Sam nudged my arm. Look. She pointed to a bird cage suspended from the ceiling. Hanging just above eye level to us inside the cage, waddling around on a bed of straw and looking miserable, was a white swan. It's a Valkyrie, Sam said. How can you be sure? I just am. Not only that, I'm pretty sure it's Gunilla. I shuddered. What was she doing here? Looking for us. Valkyries are excellent trackers. I imagine she got here before we did, and Sam mimed a hand snatching something out of the air. So, do we leave her? For the giants to eat? Of course not. She set you up. She got you kicked out of the Valkyries. She's still my captain, Sam said. She has her reasons for mistrusting me. A few centuries ago, there was a son of Loki who made it into Valhalla. He and Gunilla fell in love, I guessed. I kind of got that impression when she was taking me on a tour of the hotel. Sam nodded. The son of Loki betrayed her. Turned out he was a spy for my dad. Broke her heart. Well, you get the picture. Anyway, I'm not going to leave her here to die. I sighed. Okay. I pulled off my pendant. Jack the Sword hummed to life. About time, he said. What did I miss yesterday? A bunch of climbing, I told him. Now we're looking up at 2 more giantesses. How do you feel about flying up their nostrils? The sword tugged at my hand, his blade peeking around the corner of the curtain. Dude, we're on the windowsill. We've technically crossed the threshold of the giant's home. So you have to follow the rules. Killing them in their home without provocation would be rude. Right, I said. But we wouldn't want to kill them rudely. Hey, senor, guest rights and host rights are important magic protocols. They keep situations from escalating. Blitzen groaned in the corner. The sword has a point, kid, and no, that wasn't a joke. We should go in, claim guest rights, and barter for what we need. If the giants try to kill us, then we can attack. Hearthstone hiccuped, grinned, and signed. Washing machine. Sam shook her head. You two are in no condition to go anywhere. Blitz, stay here and watch Hearthstone. Magnus and I will go in, find Thor's hammer, and free Ganilla. If things go wrong, it'll be up to you two to figure out how to rescue us. But Blitzen put his fist over his mouth and stifled a nerve. Yeah, okay. How are you guys going to get down there? Sam peered over the ledge. We'll use your magic rope to reach the floor, and then we'll walk up to the giants and introduce ourselves. I hate this plan, I said. Let's do it. Alright, guys. So, my throat is really dry because I've actually recorded 3 videos today for the Magnus Chase series, so I'm going to end this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, be sure to comment, and be sure to subscribe for more amazing videos. There will be more. I will be recording more Magnus Chase tomorrow, and I will be uploading them all at once because that's the way to do it. Peace out. I'm exhausted.